हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम महाराज।
धन्यवाद धन्यवाद। हरि बोल। ओम देवी की जय।
जय।
दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
श्री प्रभुपाद, श्री गुरु महाराज, श्री गुरुदेव, श्री आचार्य देव की जय।
जय।
श्री गुरु मार्ग की जय।
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 समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय।
जय।
गौ प्रेमानंदी हरि 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 बोल।
हरि बोल। जय श्रीपाद भक्ति माधव पुरी महाराज की जय।
जय।
So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Jai Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru Mam Evaishyasi Yuktaivam Atmanam Mat Parayanaha Manmana Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru Mam Evaishyasi Yuktaivam Atmanam Mat Parayanam. So Krishna is saying here, engage your mind and always thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisance to me and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Krishna is not being shy here. He's telling directly. He's telling directly to Arjuna, you should be thinking about me. I should be the sole center of your life. Everything should be about me. All your honor, everything should be given to me. How could he say such a thing? Did you ever have a friend who came to you and say like this, you have to think of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, worship me? What kind of friend would tell you that? So Krishna is talking to his friend Arjuna, and he's telling him like this. So we have to understand, Krishna is a person, but he's not an ordinary person. To tell like this, it can only be the absolute person, only the absolute person. Can say, speak like this. No scripture in the world does it say anything directly like this. Krishna is telling Arjuna in such direct language, such specific language, such complete conviction That Krishna is telling Arjuna, you must have total commitment to me. So this is a very important, very significant verse. Most significant verse in the Gita, one of the most significant verses in the Gita, because he's telling him directly how you must come. Approach Krishna. Jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai.
Jai. So good to see you, Maharaj.
Likewise. So we were saying this is one of the most important verses in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is telling Arjuna, engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer your obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, you will come to me. So this is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga. If you want to practice Bhakti Yoga, this is the key verse. This is the key. This is the main verse. This is the main thing you have to understand. Total absorption in Krishna is necessary. Not just on one day of the week you come and listen to Krishna about Krishna and decide, okay, I did my duty. I heard about Krishna. I used to be very angry about that actually when I was a young fellow. My parents were very good Catholics, but they went to church on Sunday, one day a week for 1 hour. They would go to the church, and I would go with them. And I was thinking, what is wrong with these people? Huh? You actually say you believe in God, but you only go 1 hour? 1 hour, that's it? Your whole commitment to God is 1 hour? To God? What kind of God are you understanding? Huh? If we actually understand this God, we want to give everything, whole of our being, whole of our life should be dedicated to God. That is a correct understanding of God. Not that it is just one thing among the many. It's unique. It's unique in all this world. Focus upon God. What is that special thing that we must know? What is the special thing that He is telling us in the Bhagavad Gita that we must be aware of, that is so important? Of course, if we recognize that when we're speaking of God, there's no comparison with any other ordinary living entity. God means the sum total, all reality. Is bigger, is infinite, the whole. When we relate to another living entity, that's relating only to another part of the universe, of the whole. We are a part of the whole and relate to another part of the whole, that's all. But how do you relate to the whole? Is it possible to relate to the whole? Do we have a relationship with the whole? This we don't understand, you see. We don't understand that we have a relationship with the whole. Always. Not that we can have a relationship with just one part and another part and no relationship to the whole also. So this is not educated. People are not educated about these things in the modern world. They have absolutely no idea that they have a relationship with Krishna, with the whole God. And that is the most important relationship to understand things properly. Otherwise, we will never come to understand what is what. That is called Maya. Maya means we act within the partial reality. We act without understanding complete reality. But that is not that won't give us the complete satisfaction. That won't give us complete fulfillment of life that we deserve, that we all are deserving, that Krishna has made for all of us. So he says in the purport here, what does Prabhupada say? So in the verse it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Karma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In his Anubhashya comments on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, his chapter, Adi Lila, verse 4, Deha Dehi Viveda Yom Neshvare Vidyate Korvite Kvachit. This means Deha Dehi Vedeva Vevedo Vibedo. Deho and Dehi means the body, the possessor of the body, Vibedo, are not different. Yam Nevare Vidyate Kvachit. There is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind and from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. So just like you are a person, and you have a head and you have arms and a body and so forth. And someone tried to separate the person from the body. That you may be someone, but your body is something different. You would be shocked. You would say, "Wait a minute, this is not right." You identify yourself with the body. So in the same way, Krishna and his body are one and the same. What is the body of Krishna? Everything, the whole universe. Just as you have a body and you're a person, so the universal truth has a body, the universe, and a person. And if you try to separate the body from the person, that's to be improper. Of course, our body is different from the body, ourself different from the body, because we're finite. We are finite persons. Krishna is an infinite person, so it's not exactly the same. So our body is changing. We get different bodies according to our finite, because of our finite identity. But Krishna and himself and his body, they are not different. So those who are demoniac, they think of Krishna, but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle, he was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of him as an enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come and kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love, that is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material, but is eternal blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise from wrong source will prove fruitless. So Krishna is called Krishna Anushilana. Anushilana. One should develop Anushilana means a proper conception. It means a good conception of Krishna. Don't develop a wrong conception of Krishna. Developing a wrong conception of Krishna, that he is the enemy, that he's going to kill me, that he's not my friend, that will not help us. Not that kind of conception. Kind of conception of Krishna that will be favorable. That we'll see how Krishna is always our friend, our lover, always in acting for our benefit. That kind of conception of Krishna will be beneficial to us, because that is his absolute position. Krishna is love himself. How could he ever act against the living entity? He is absolute love. God is love. The absolute is not different from his love. In the same way, Krishna is not different from his loving nature. So to develop that kind of idea, favorable idea of serving Krishna, favorable relationship with Krishna. That is very important. And therefore we need information about Krishna from his devotee who has already established his proper relationship with Krishna, a loving relationship with Krishna. And then we can also learn how to develop that same kind of loving relationship. That will be beneficial to us. So one should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and the devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This would help one transfer to Krishna Loka. This is the process. Krishna Loka, how to get there? You can't get there by a rocket ship. You have to go by consciousness. You have to develop the consciousness, how to go there. Krishna Loka is a place of consciousness, as a plane of consciousness. And how do you get there? As is explained by Krishna himself, simply by focusing your mind upon him, totally and completely. And you can be transferred there. Your consciousness will become Krishna conscious, and you'll be living in that plane. So one should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage the mind. One must engage the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. So the 9 processes of devotional service on hearing, chanting, smaranam, remembering, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. 9 processes. Hearing, it begins with hearing. How are you going to learn about Krishna Loka, about that plane of consciousness? Nobody talks about Krishna, the plane of Krishna consciousness in this world. And yet it is our home. It is where we come from, where we belong. It's Krishna, is the plane of Krishna consciousness. But no one is talking about it. That's called Maya. Maya is making us forget. It's totally about for anything but Krishna consciousness. So how can the living entity develop that consciousness of Krishna? By hearing from persons who are not interested in that, who are absorbed in everything else but Krishna consciousness. So we have to find someone, a devotee, who's always thinking about Krishna, and try to hear from them, try to learn about Krishna from them, and in this way raise our consciousness to that Krishna level, Krishna consciousness. We're desiring that, we want that. Always to hear those things, to always be thinking of those things, to always be speaking of those things. Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing about those things, to speaking about those things, and remembering those things. Shravanam Kirtanam. Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandam means always trying to serve in a very humble way, always remaining very humble, and trying to serve that higher world. Pada Sevanam. We want to serve at the feet. Pada means feet. We want to serve at the feet of the Lord. Very humble service, the most menial, the smallest service. Service means that it's higher than us. If we're always at the feet of the Lord, at the feet of the devotees, then they're always higher than us. We don't think ourselves to be superior to them. And then we can serve. Then service becomes possible. If we think ourselves higher at the equal level of them, then service is very difficult. We think they should be serving us. And that's the problem in this world. People think that God is for our service. They pray to God, oh God, give me this, give me that. They can't understand that they are the servants. So Pada Sevanam, Archanam, worship. Every day we worship Krishna. Offer something, incense, a lamp, some ghee, some food, some flowers. Offer something to Krishna. Develop that attitude of offering, worshiping Him. That's very conducive, very helpful to our Krishna consciousness, to worship Him, to remember that He is our Lord. We are His servants. And then praying to the Lord, always praying to Krishna. Please, Krishna, don't forget me. I am your servant. Somehow or other, engage me in serving you so that I don't become distracted by Maya, by these things that are leading me away from you. Right? And then Atmanivedana also means giving your whole heart, body, mind, words, everything. Surrendering your whole self. Like that, Krishna, how do you want to utilize my body? How do you want to utilize me in your service? I am ready. Any way you want to take me, any way you want to use me. And that's not a simple thing. Sometimes we are put into much difficulty physically, physical body is much difficulty. Yet we have to serve Krishna. We want to serve Krishna. We want to use our body in the service of Krishna. However inconvenient it may be for us. So the 7th and 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord. And that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. So some people, they want to sit and try to think about Krishna, speculative knowledge, how to understand what is Krishna. But that is very superficial. Trying to understand something. It's important, we want to try to understand, but we can't stop there. We have to actually engage in service and to engage in these activities simply to become mystic yogis, to develop some mystic powers. Some people do that. They become very powerful by focusing on Krishna. They become spiritually powerful. They can do things that other persons can't do. But we should not get involved in that either. Don't get distracted by that. The powers that come from spiritual life. Being able to control others. We should always be thinking of serving Krishna. Fruit of activities means we don't do things for getting some result. Everyone in this world is fruit of activity. Everyone is engaging in some activity for getting some result from that. Devotees don't do that. They engage in service not expecting any result. They engage in service simply to serve. They find the highest joy in giving of themselves, giving their energy for the service of Krishna in whatever way they can. And that becomes their source of enjoyment. Their only source of pleasure is to feel that, oh, I have served my Lord, I have served the devotees. Those who are not purely those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahman, Brahmajyoti, and localized Paramatma. But a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord. There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. So in India, there are many demigods. In America, we don't have that problem. There's not demigods exactly, but there are different personalities.
Pagan.
Huh?
Pagan.
Huh?
In America, there's a lot of pagans these days.
Pagan. Huh?
A lot.
Huh? They have some show on television, American Idol. What is it called?
Yeah, American Idol is singing competition.
American Idol, no?
Singing competition, yeah.
Idol. So they have so many idols, see? They want to make you look at this one, look at that one. You know, you worship them, you become their fan. Taylor Smith, so many people, right? They're all wanting to become your idol. No, we're not interested in worshiping these people. They are not the highest thing. There's a tendency to worship somebody high like that. Our worship is only to Krishna. We don't take any other idol as worshipable. They will not give us the result of perfection that Krishna will give us. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental, non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. A pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotee. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in the material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. So Krishna, Prabhupada keeps saying the same thing. You've heard this many times throughout his books. He's emphasizing worship Krishna, remember Krishna, do everything for Krishna, chant Krishna's name. The whole emphasis is on Krishna. Krishna, that's all. Why so much emphasis on Krishna? What kind of life is that? What is he telling us? What is he trying to convey to us? Nobody does this, you see. People in this world are thinking of so many different things, but how many are actually thinking of God? And if God is something so important, how could there be anything more important? Then why don't people understand this? Why can they live their lives as if it were not important, as if there were something else to do? I mean, they don't understand. They don't understand. So Krishna, concentration on Krishna, this is the real meaning of life, the real purpose of life. And we put some from philosophy on the internet. What is that?
Facebook.
Put up an article today. Sridhar Maharaj liked Hegel very much because he had a very good philosophy about God. And he make it bigger. Hegel spoke about self-determination. Self-determination is a very important concept. Self-determination. Self-determination means freedom. Freedom. Self-determined. You're not determined by something other than yourself. Self-determination means you're determined by yourself. That's called freedom. And people do not understand that although Krishna consciousness is always talking about surrender to Krishna, slavery to Krishna, that it's about freedom. It's about self-determination. Why? Because Krishna is yourself. Krishna is the real self of everyone. And we have forgotten that. Without understanding that Krishna is the self, we are suffering under what is called false ego. We think that we are the main characters of this world. I always say that we call it history. History means his story. It's not our story. History means this world is about his story. It's not my story. But we're so foolish. We think it's all about me. But that is not the true meaning of life. That's not the true story. Krishna is also involved. And that is not being taught in the modern educational system today. Being completely ignored. The most important thing, the essential thing, and not being taught. So the whole world has gone off and a misconception. And the Bhagavad Gita is sitting there all these years trying to teach us what is the real conception of life, what is the proper conception. How do we get real satisfaction, real knowledge, real realization about who I am and what am I doing here in this world. Anyhow, so Hegel has given a very good philosophical basis for understanding these things in a very rational way. So here he says,
At the bottom.
Huh?
At the bottom.
You don't have to keep the picture there.
I can't get rid of it.
Okay. Said our ego has floated us on the surface of trouble and Maya, illusion, concoction, and the search for selfish satisfaction have taken us to this world, and these must be discussed,
Dissolved
dissolved once we are in the plane of.
once and for all.
Huh?
Once and for all.
You read it?
Concoction and search for selfish satisfaction have taken us here, and these must be dissolved once and for all. And then from within our golden selves will come out, and we will find that we are in the plane of a happy dancing mood with Krishna in Vrindavan. Hegel's self-determination. In Hegelian language, this is called self-determination. Self-determination means we must die to live. We must leave our material life and all our material habits. We have to die as we are if we want to have a real life. We have to give up our false ego. Our material habits from different births are collected in the ego in subtle forms, not only from the experience of human birth, but even from animal births, tree births, and so many other births. Krishna consciousness means the wholesale dissolution of the false ego. That concocted selfish figure within us is our enemy. The real self is hopelessly buried beneath the false ego. So great is the depth of our forgetfulness that we even do not know who we are. So, as the German philosopher Hegel said, we have to die to live. Reality is for itself and by itself. The world is not created for our selfish end. It has a universal end, and we are part and parcel of that. We must come to an understanding with the whole. The complete whole is Krishna, and he is dancing, playing, and singing in his own way. We must enter into that harmonious dance. Being infinitesimal, should we think that the infinite must be controlled by us? That by our whim everything will go on? This is the most crooked, heinous object ever conceived, and we are suffering from such a disease. This is the real problem in society. Our inquiry should be aimed at solving this. This material world is only a reflection of complete reality. It is a conception we find exciting to us. Compelled by local interest of enjoyment, we have embraced this creation of the Lord. With our spiritual vision covered by the spectacles of prejudice, we are seeing things in a distorted way. The Lord is not to be blamed. Our spectacles should be blamed. Everything is meant for him. The only difference in our vision of reality is that our vision is tainted with the colors of our different kinds of selfish interests. And the different planetary systems in the material world are different subplanes in the plane of enjoyment or exploitation. Our distorted consciousness is the source of the different colors of things that surround us. And when these illusory conceptions are fully removed, we will find that everywhere it is Krishna and Krishna only. And when the conception of Godhead as Lord and Master is removed, then receiving his impetus of activity from Krishna consciousness, the soul will find himself in Vrindavan. But in order to attain that stage, we must have no consciousness of this body or the mind or the country conception, the nation conception, the globe conception. All planes of limited conception must be crossed. From soul to supersoul, the soul must enter deeper and deeper into reality. You will find everything there. There you will find that Radharani and Krishna in Vrindavan is not false. It is neither poetry nor imagination. The only requirement is that we must develop our deeper nature, our self-identification, through self-determination. In Hegel's language, self-determination is the fulfillment of all of us. Self-determination in the Vaishnava conception means Svarupa Siddhi, spiritual identity. Who am I? What is my deeper self beyond my mind or my intelligence? Where am I? What is my inner self-interest? I must enter into the plane of reality. I must get back my proper self. And in Krishna's connection, I will enter the environment and see what the world really is. If I am given some wine or some poison, then I shall become beside myself. I shall see things in a distorted way. I will be unable to recognize my sister or mother, and actuated by animal nature, I will see everything as an object for my enjoyment. The crude tendency of lust will cover my vision of everything. Then again, when I am sober, I shall see the same things, but my perception of them will be changed. In this way, we must be prepared to go deeper beneath the surface of reality and find out who we are, what is our real self-interest. We should try to see the paraphernalia of reality according to our genuine self-interest. Through self-determination, we must learn to see things the opposite of the way we are seeing them at present. We must try to understand how to find ourselves, and by surrendering ourselves to Krishna's interest, then we shall try to go back home, back to Godhead.
No, it's nice we have both Prabhupada and Srila Maharaj's vision, how to see these things, how to understand these things. And they complement each other, you can see very nicely. Prabhupada is encouraging us to go to become Krishna, and Srila Maharaj is encouraging us to uh, decrease our material vision, dissolve our material vision, so that we can remember Krishna. Both ways, positively, negatively, anyway, we have to remember what is our relationship, what is our true nature in relation to Krishna. And this is what I have to say today. Any question? I'd like to know more. Any comment? Can you do this? We have to hear. Gradually, it's very difficult to wind up our material life and to become Krishna conscious. Not so easy to think, but gradually, by hearing, by chanting, by engaging in service, we can hope that maybe one day, even after it takes millions of lifetimes, we may become Krishna conscious and get the proper conception. Be free from this material world, birth and death. Okay, and I will take your leave. My humble dandavat to you all. I hope you are doing well. You always have my love, my good wishes, and blessings. Hope you will become Krishna conscious.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Adivas Avirbhav Mahamahotsav Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravartikacharya Sri Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
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 Jai Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
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 Jai. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank
Sadarpana Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.